Alright guys, we're continuing on with our power ranking video series. We are up to number 11. And here is where I've placed the Tyranids. And the Tyranids are kind of unique, in my opinion. And the reason I have them so high is, one, if we go back to the rumors that I mentioned in the previous video with Imperial Guard, that the rumors have it that Tyranids will get a Codex update in the next month. So probably mid to late January, somewhere in there. But really, the Tyranids are unique because, one, they're essentially space bugs, and two, you can really do them in several different ways. Just like you could do every army in several different ways. But Tyranids, really you could do the Flying Circus, which is a favorite of a lot of players, or you could do Swarms. And really the Swarms, and on the battle reports I've watched on YouTube, tend to be hit and miss. Now, I've seen some players with a couple, I believe it's, whatever one spawns Termagants, but seeing a variety of, like, 2 or 3 squads of Termagants or Hormagaunts. I've even seen some players do a mixture of the two in a unit. So, say in a squad of 15, you may have 10 Termagants and 5 Hormagaunts. And each with a different weapon, or one set has a different weapon from another. That way, you kind of can play against whatever army you're going against. So you maybe have some things that are good against infantry that will force your opponent to make their armor saves. And then you have weapons that can negate armor saves, which is a very interesting prospect. And you definitely have some uniqueness in a lot of the big models, such as the Hive Tyrant, Broodlord. Warriors are definitely good if you have them in the right setting. The Spore Mines, they're interesting, but I don't kinda see a point to them, other than maybe, like I've seen before in an Apocalypse game, where you could set them up as like the initial line that your opponent has to get through, depending on what your opponent's playing. Now, for the most part, they are good at movement. They can drown you in a volley of dice, and even if it's not in a volley of dice like with Orcs or Imperial Guard that can field a lot of models on the table. And then I go with the next best thing, which is quality of dice. So if you've got a model that's only rolling, let's just say has a weapon that's rolling 6 dice or 3 dice or something, but you look at the strength and AP, if it's a strength 8, AP 2, then those are going to be quality dice that really, and what we have now with 40k, the quality of dice are really your key dice. Not saying that, the volume of dice isn't going to be effective, but your quality dice could potentially make or break. So that melter shot into a Land Raider could be hit or miss, could make or break a particular point in the game. And Tyranids, I see Tyranids as one of those fairly well-rounded armies that is good at a lot of things. But because they are essentially an early 6th edition codex, they need some updating to kind of keep pace with some of the codexes we've seen come out here in 7th edition. Now, personally, I'm actually looking at starting a Tyranid army. Not because I like space bugs. Generally, I'm afraid of all bugs. But seeing what you can do with them, seeing them play, seeing some of the abilities that they have, kind of makes me want to explore into them a lot more. Now, the one downside to Tyranids is, with their 6th edition update, and the way 7th edition rule sets are now, some models, some units, kind of seem to have lost some of their greatness that they have. I'm looking particularly at Gene Stealers. Whereas 5th edition, they were one of the best close combat units in 40k. Now they're kinda meh. They're not horrible, but they're not as good as they used to be. And if anyone's ever played the game Space Hulk, you know that Gene Stealers still aren't horrible. Now that's only Gene Stealers versus shooting Terminators. What happens if you put Gene Stealers against a Terminator that's Lightning Claw, Thunderhammer, Storm Shield? I don't think they're going to fare as well. But Tyranids, I put them kind of outside the top 10. They're one that debated could have been plus or minus 2 or 3 positions. I decided to just go ahead and put them in the middle because the one factor I have for Tyranids, the one thing, is going to be where are they going to be once they get a codex update? What models are they going to get? What new abilities, what new special rules are they going to get in a new codex, in a new 7th edition codex? So, Tyranid players, do you agree or do you disagree? Tyranids are definitely a very good army. They're one that may need a little bit of finesse, but if you go with the swarm route, you can afford to make a few mistakes, lose a few gaunts, and not really worry about being in a bad position or potentially losing the game. Because as long as your spawner doesn't roll doubles, they're going to keep spawning out 10, 15, a lot of gaunts. So let's start a discussion, Tyranid players. Agree, disagree, what am I missing? And as we keep going in this countdown, you guys will be able to get more of a fuller picture and see, okay, am I right in a lot of these aspects? Am I wrong in a lot of these aspects? Right now, Tyranids, they're good enough to be close to the top 10, but I want to see what more they can get with their new codex before I actually look at possibly vaulting them into the top 10.